Hey, welcome everybody. This is the Options Moneymaker Q&A session for February 24th, 2021. I'm Mark Dannenberg. Aaron Rumley is with me here tonight also. You'll hear from Aaron in a little bit as we start getting into the Q&A. So let me just kind of set the tone for this. The purpose for the Q&A is that we have a recognition that the majority of the people in our community of traders are at some level of their own learning. And we've provided a lot of programs to traders for them to learn how to trade options, learn how to trade futures. We've provided tools for traders to use to support their trading and find their own level of success. We're also very aware of the fact that frequently when you provide online learning, you provide self-study courses, that there is a need to be able to ask a question. So we carve out time every other week on Wednesday evening to make ourselves available. Usually it's the three of us here, myself, Aaron, and Michael. Michael is actually away this evening. But we carve out time to make ourselves available to answer whatever questions you have. So we are here to help you learn how to trade and then trade to earn. So the first part of that is extremely important. There are far too many traders in general that will immediately jump into trading, not really knowing what they're doing. I might have seen some stories about that recently in the news. Particular brokerage firms seems to have a challenge with traders not really understanding what they're doing, and they get lucky and then they get unlucky. What we're supporting and really teaching is how to trade, how to make this something that is a skill set for you, not something that is more like going to Vegas and you get lucky one time and you're unlucky another time. So we have built a variety of tools for that. We've partnered with New Cycle Trading and Analytics to help us build tools. So the Q&A is focused on whatever we support, whatever we do, whatever programs that we offer. We're here to help you understand how to most effectively use them. So that includes the adaptive entry system for identifying trends. That's the adaptive entry system that was built by New Cycle Trading and Analytics. The live trading room, most of you know, is for real-time trading and support. Aaron and Michael are the two primary hosts of the live trading room throughout the day. They are actually calling out the trade signals off of the adaptive entry system throughout the day, and they're providing a level of support which allows real-time traders to be able to ask questions and understand in real time how that trade was selected, why that trade was selected, when we have profits, when we have losses, when we should take ourselves out of the trade, when we should hold the trade, et cetera. So there's a tremendous amount of real-time learning that goes on in the live trading room, but if you have additional questions, feel free to ask those here. We provide a futures trading education course. It's mostly focused on learning the risk and reward of futures. Futures have a perception by a large number of people who don't have any understanding that they are a vehicle. You know, they're a derivative. You can lose everything you have in futures. Well, there is some truth to that if you don't really follow a set of rules. We preach a set of rules, we preach protection, we preach a conservative approach, and overall, we're very successful with our futures trading education. I'm going to go into that here in just a minute when I start talking about the personal trading plan. Personal trading plan is something that I'm going to show tonight. We have a lot of guests with us tonight, so I want to make sure that I do an overview of that. But the personal trading plan was built to track your personal profit performance. Trading seems to be one of those activities that people trade today, they had a good day, they trade tomorrow, they didn't have a good day, and they're on this constant emotional roller coaster and cycle of not really feeling great in the long term, and they don't really know where they're going. They never really know where today's performance fits into the big picture. So the personal trading plan was designed specifically to help you understand where your trading performance fits into the big picture, meaning if you continued to do what you're doing in the combination of winning trades and losing trades and winning days and losing days, and you're going to have both, if you continue to do what you're doing based on your run rate of performance, what could you possibly forecast to make over a 12-month period? This, in my opinion, is an absolutely necessary tool for every trader. It smooths out those emotional highs and lows. If you have a losing day, you plug it into your personal trading plan and you still get to see what your projected income could potentially be over a 12-month period. So I'm going to show you that tonight because we promote plugging your performance in on a daily basis. And I'm going to show you 3 different variations of what we track on the personal trading plan. And then we are all about options education also. Profit Builder Plus is an extensive deep dive program for learning how to trade options. If you are an existing options trader, but you're just not excited about your performance, not excited about how you're doing, you might want to sign up for Profit Builder Plus and kind of go through a refresher for some of what you know and new information that might help you. If you've never traded options before, Profit Builder Plus is a great place to start. We built the program starting at the beginning, meaning explaining the most basic terms like the strikes, what a strike is, how to choose an options expiration, puts and calls. We cover all of that. And then we go all the way into some of the more advanced spread strategies that you can trade. We also talk in the Profit Builder Plus education program how to manage trades that aren't working out for you. All right, so questions about any of those, feel free to put them in the question and answer box now. Before we get to the questions, I'm going to quickly go through the personal trading plan. We think the personal trading plan is something every trader should have, and we think that it's important that you update your performance at the end of every day. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to start by going to our performance tracking. Now, Erin's here with us tonight, and she gets 100% kudos for building this tool, which essentially has resulted in us building a database of performance over a period of time. And it's going to take just a minute to load. That database of performance is allowing us to examine the performance of certain combinations of uh, adaptive entry system signals as well as timeframes. So if we want to know what your average performance could be on a daily basis, if you took all of the adaptive entry system signals, which there are 4 of them, and you traded from 7 a.m. Eastern to noon Eastern, well, for the last 174 trading days, that combination of factors, taking all the signals from 7 to noon, has averaged just under $542 a day. There have been 45 losing days in the 174 days. You're going to average about 17 trades a day trading during that time frame, and it's just under a 73% win-loss ratio. So we have all of this data, and then we built this field down here, which allows us to do research. If you asked me, geez, I can only trade from 8 to 10 every day using Eastern timeframes. I can plug in 8 o'clock as my start time, 10 o'clock as my end time, and I'm going to give you a reasonable idea of what to expect from trading during that time frame. Now, we all know that based on the last 174 trading days, that doesn't guarantee anything going forward. But the more data that we collect, the greater the level of integrity this data has, and it just allows us to help you get started. We always promote education first, and then we promote a trial basis, which means you trade in sim mode. If you're trading futures, that you trade in sim mode, or you do paper trading if you're trading options, for about 30 days until you kind of get a feel for the flow, you get a better understanding of the entry signals, and you start to build some of your own performance credentials. Once you get through 30 days of sim trading, you're going to have a good idea of whether or not your run rate is reasonably similar to the run rate that we've shown for the last 174 days. And even if it's not, what's most important is what your absolute run rate is. So one of the things that we do throughout the day is Erin does a really great job of making sure that all of the trade detail is entered on a daily basis. So we built this tracking tool spreadsheet basically. And what we do is record the time of each trade, whether it was a short or long, and this is all based on NASDAQ 100 futures. That's what we're primarily focused on during our live trading room session. Whether we're short or long, and it's on a 5-minute chart, what the strategy was. M is for momentum strategies, T plus is trend continuation, C is consensus, and T is trend. So we're going to, and F is a fractal. So we're going to record the strategy, and then for each trade, we're going to record on a points basis what our profit or loss was. Each point has a $20 value to it per contract. So if we have 10 points of profit times $20 a point, that's a $200 profit. If we have a 20-point loss times $20 a point, that's a $400 loss. So we record wins, we record losses, we even record the drawdown, meaning how much did it move against us before we actually ended up closing the position. So, there are situations where here's one that moves 6.25 points against us, but then ended up giving us a 5-point profit. Here's one that gave us a 14.5-point drawdown, and then it gave us a 5-point profit. So we track all this detail. We actually track it from 3 a.m. Forward until we stop trading at the end of the day. Today, the last trade we took was at 3:26, and then we were done in the live trading room for the day. So we have all the detail of every single day since we started doing this, and then we summarize it in a daily summary. And we can see the total in any particular category that we want to adjust our research tab to. But there are 3 primary categories that we evaluate, and we plug their performance into our personal trading plan. And we do that so that our community can see, well, there are differences between choosing to trade 9:30 to 12 versus 7 to 4. There are differences if you trade all the signals versus trading only the trend and trend continuation signals, etc. So the 3 categories that we translate into our personal trading plan are 9:30 to noon, taking all of the adaptive entry system signals. That does not include fractals. That's the 4 primary signals. The second category we put into the personal trading plan is trading from 7 a.m. Eastern until we stop trading, which is generally sometime between 3 and 4 o'clock Eastern, but only taking the trend and trend continuation signals. And then the third category that we track, and we just started doing this at the beginning of the year, beginning of 2021, we track the actual time frame that the live trading room is open. It opens at 8:45 a.m. Eastern, and we close sometime between 3 and 4 o'clock Eastern. And we're taking all of the adaptive entry system signals plus fractals. So these are the 3 categories that we track. Now these 2 categories, 9:30 to noon and 7 to 4, we've been tracking now for about 7 months. And the 8:45 to 4 category, we just started tracking January 4th of this year. So we're going to track a full calendar year, but it gives you a good flavor for the differences that each of those categories can give you in terms of performance. So today in our 9:30 to noon category, we actually had 5 points of profit, and we took 12 trades. Wasn't very productive today, but we had some choppiness early on. I know I was trading through that, and it was a little aggravating, but it is what it is. In our 7 to 4, we actually lost 18.5 points, and we did 18 trades. And in our 8:45 to 4, we made 21.5 points, and we took 38 trades. So now we have, first of all, the detail. That's all summarized in the daily summary. And the next thing is we have our personal trading plan. So the personal trading plan was built so that we could plug in our performance every single day. And once we've plugged it in, it's highlighted in blue. So everything highlighted in blue is our history. And it takes all of our history and it will calculate for us what the average winning day is and what the average losing day is. And I'll say more about that here in just a minute. we can then use those averages, average wins and average losses, to forecast forward. So this is a 52-week plan, and we are 30. We're into 34th week of our plan. Sorry, we're into our 33rd week of our 52-week plan. And so what we want to do is to say, if we continue to operate at these same levels, these are our current averages, our current run rates. We want to now use those same values to forecast the balance of the year. And that's going to help us then understand what our profit potential could be for a 12-month period. So let's start by plugging in our numbers. This is the 9:30 to noon. And I'm going to put it in under the NQ. That's the NASDAQ 100 futures. We had 5 points of profit, and it's $20 a point. Now, our personal trading plan is designed to scale the number of contracts you're trading. You should always start with one contract when you're just starting out, but there's a formula in here I will explain in just a minute that will graduate the number of contracts so that you can accelerate your earnings without really doing any more work. We are at 3 contracts, so we made $300 for today. So that's 5 contracts, 5 points, $20 a point is $100, and then 3 contracts is $300. We had 12 trades at 3 contracts per trade, so it's 36 contracts in total. Now that we have our contracts put in there, we've accounted for the fees and commissions that we have to pay to Infinity in order to trade. I'm going to do the other 2 categories here, and then I'll come back and we'll evaluate the forecast. So in our 7 to 4 category, we had a loss, you saw, of 18.5 points. If I multiply that times $20 a point, and again, here we're trading 3 contracts also, times 3, we actually had a loss today of $1,110. And we did 18 trades, and that's times 3, so there's 54 contracts. And we're going to lock that in at 3. So we put 3 in the override, contract override field, so that if we do any research, it doesn't go back and change anything that's in our history. The history is locked, and all of our research is go forward research. And then the last category that we're tracking, now this one just started on January 4th. The other 2 started July 6th of last year. We did 21.5 points times $20 a point times 3 contracts. Today it was $1,290 of profit, and we traded 38 trades during that time frame times 3 contracts per trade, so it was 114 contracts. Okay, so let's go lock that at 3 in our contract override field, and now we're going to do our evaluation. So I'm going to go back to the 9:30 to noon category, and you're going to see that there's a significant difference between the 2, between the 3 different strategies. One is all signals, one is all plus fractals, one is just trend and continuation, one is 9:30 to noon, one is 7 to 4, one's 8:45 to 4. Okay, so we're 33.5 weeks into our 52-week plan. During that 33.5 weeks, there have been 57 losing trading days. During that 33.6 weeks, our winning day is averaging 21.75 points a day. Now that takes into account both the winning days as well as the frequency rate of winning days relative to the number of weeks in our history. So number of winning days relative to 33.6 weeks, and we assume that we're going to have the same win-loss ratio going forward. It may get slightly better, it may get slightly unfavorable, less favorable, but it is a real number, and that's what we want to work with. Our losing day average is minus 42.98 points. And again, that takes into account all the losing days as well as the number of losing days relative to weeks of history. So now I want to translate those run rate values. These are our real performance values into my forecast. So 21 0.75 and minus 42.98. Minus 42.98. Okay. So now we know what our run rate is for the first 33 and a half weeks. We still have a few weeks left in our 52-week plan, and we're forecasting forward for the balance of our 52 weeks the same as our run rate. We are capping our contracts out at 3 contracts. I'll explain that a little bit more in a little bit. But assuming that we don't trade more than 3 contracts for the balance of our 52-week time frame, our projected income right now is $130,683. That's in an account that started at $5,000. All we've done is started with 1 contract of trading. We follow the adaptive entry system signals from 9:30 to noon, and we just post the performance, whether it's a win, whether it's a loss. We take into account the winning days and the losing days, and it doesn't matter what the size of each is. All that matters is what is our down the road horizon target. So 130,000. So let's take a look at the 7 to 4 category. In our 33.6 weeks, same time frame, we've had 54 losing days. Our average winning day is 27.77, and our average losing day is 39.41. We're going to translate those into our future forecast. So 27.77 and minus 39.41. Now, the further you get out into the 52-week plan, the smaller the increments of changes are from day to day. Those were very minor changes. When you're first in the beginning of your plan, the first 30, 60, 90 days, the changes from day to day can be more pronounced. There'll be bigger wins changes, and there'll be bigger negative changes. But as you develop your plan and you get out past 3, 4, 5 months, that starts to stabilize a little bit. Here, we're going to stay at 3 contracts also. The projected income is $216,849. That's in an account also that has started with just $5,000. Okay, so we went 5,000 to 216,000. Now, just a word about contracts here real quick. We have 2 levels of limitation on the contracts. One is there is a margin requirement to trade futures. The margin requirement on each contract at Infinity is $500. Check out other brokers. There's some other brokers that charge as much as $17,000 per contract. We're trading at Infinity Futures. Margin requirement is $500. We want to make sure that the margin requirement for the number of contracts that we're trading does not exceed 10% of the balance of the account. And that value is set right here. You can adjust that to whatever you want in your personal trading plan. We do not want the margin requirement for the number of contracts that we're trading to exceed 10% of the total balance of the account. The other limitation is you just get to a practical point where you decide, I don't want to trade more than X number of contracts. If you put a big number in there, I'm going to exaggerate this. This is not at all what I would recommend. But if I were to put 50 contracts in there, well, the trading plan, let's see, there we go. The trading plan is going to graduate me up to 50 contracts, but not all at one time. I need enough balance in the account to cover the margin requirement of $500 times 50. I need enough to cover 500 times 50. And when it gets there, it will graduate me up to 50 contracts, and then it will stay there because that's what I said I would want to limit my maximum trading. And of course, that takes the projected income out to $1.4 million. Now I see it doesn't go back and change anything in our history. It only changes going forward for the next few weeks. So I think 50 is a ridiculous number, but I was just doing that to kind of emphasize the point. If you decided to graduate up to 5 contracts, you'd be jumping to 5 contracts tomorrow, and your potential income ups to about $270,000. I'm going to leave this at 3. I think that that's a very reasonable number, having started with $5,000 and growing to $216,000. Okay, so here is our newest plan where we started in January of 2021. We only have 7.5 weeks under our belt. We've had 12 losing days in 7.5 weeks. Our average winning day is 41.73, very different than what we saw in the other two. And our average losing day is higher than the other two also, minus 51.97. So I'm going to change our go forward forecast values to 41.73, and you see that the change is much more significant than what we saw in the other two. And I'm going to change our losing day to minus 51.97. I'm maintaining 3 contract max. You can see here that we just got to 3 contracts last week. We started with 1 contract, we graduated up to 3 contracts. And this is really a great exercise here to see. We actually, January 4th, started with 1. We graduated up to 2 contracts. We'd actually gotten up to 3 contracts at the end of January. We had a big losing day. I think that was the biggest losing day that we've had. So how did we address that? We took it in stride. The personal trading plan, once we plugged in our performance, said go back to 1 contract, which we did. And now we've graduated back to 2, and now we've graduated back to 3. And if we maintain a 3 contract max, we started discount also at $5,000, and the current projected income for 12 months by the end of this calendar year is $337,345. I think that number will change. I don't know if it'll go higher. I don't know if it'll go lower. I think we're too early in our 52-week plan to say that these are really solid run rate numbers. They are what they are for now, but that's why it's important to update your performance plan every single day and just use the forecast based on, input your forecast based on what you actually see as your actual performance. So that's the personal trading plan and how we track the detail, how we look at the summary, the daily summary, and then we translate that detail into personal trading plan so that at any given point in time, we have a reasonable understanding of what our projected income would be. Now remember, each of these accounts started with $5,000. So that's a pretty strong statement right there, up to 337,000 or 216,000 or 130,000. It's all depending on how much time invested in your trading, how much or what signals you're taking, and so that's the personal trading plan. So let me just finish this up so we can get to the Q&A. A lot of traders struggle with the emotional side of risk and losses, and that's why we really emphasize the personal trading plan. Aaron talks about it throughout the day, helps traders see the big picture. There are a lot of days where we might end up with a small profit number or even a loss number by the end of the day because we are tracking every single trade from 7 a.m. on to the close of the market day. But earlier in the day, somebody might have hit their profit target for the day, which their personal trading plan is telling them. If your profit target was 21 points for the day and you're done at 10:30 in the morning, you might have locked in 21 points. We might end up with a loss for the day. It's not that we are personally trading every single trade throughout the day. We are tracking all of this so that we can present to you a very realistic, transparent picture as to what to expect. I know today was a good example that we finished reasonably strong, but the last couple of hours, there was a lot of back and forth. We got stopped out a few times. And yet this morning at 10:15, just an hour and a half into the trading day, our trading day on the in the live trading room, we're at 40 points. So we didn't finish at 40 points for the day, but we had people who were stopping and they were done for the day trading. Trading should not be something that you just continuously trade that's open-ended. The trading plan helps you answer the question, when is enough enough? What's a reasonable profit loss target for the day? And what's the potential 52-week income? Now, I didn't update these numbers based on having just inserted today's performance, but based on yesterday's numbers, we have our personal trading plan performance showing a 52-week income potential of anywhere between 133,000 and 299,000. And I think that those are really strong numbers, with each of the 3 accounts having started with just $5,000 and committing as little as 2.5 hours per day. That's the 9:30 to noon number. And just in terms of perspective, $78,500 is the median household income in the United States, according to the Department of Housing and Urban Development. So you can compare that to the number of hours and effort it takes to earn that versus starting your own trading business and focusing on really learning how to trade effectively. So learn to trade, trade to earn, futures trading education for learning the risk, options education if you want to learn how to trade options, the adaptive entry system, live trading room, personal trading plan. These are all the tools that we built to help you build a personal trading plan.